Hi everyone, this is Omar from TravelSummary.com. My last couple of videos were all about spending miles and points and all the fun that I had doing that in Southeast Asia and in Australia. So if you haven't seen those videos, I definitely recommend you check them out. It includes a Singapore Airlines Suites class review, which is always a fun flight to take. Now, I thought it'd be a good idea to go back to credit cards to show you guys how you can earn some more of these points and miles so you can take some of these really cool trips. And today I have a couple of really cool credit cards that I'm going to discuss. Before I get into it, I want to remind everybody to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my videos when I do go over some of these new credit cards and some of the videos that I've made recently regarding reviews and how to spend those points and miles. So go ahead and click that subscribe button before we go ahead and get started. The first credit card that I want to discuss is the United Business Card. Now, I know not everybody has a business, or maybe some people are a little bit nervous about getting a business card if they don't have one, but let me at least go over all the benefits and explain to you why it might be a really good idea for you to get this card regardless. And again, I want to remind everybody that I don't make any money off of you signing up for a credit card. I don't even provide links to the actual credit card. I'll let you Google it yourself because I don't earn a commission, and I don't want to try to convince you in a way that may seem like it's underhanded, like some of the other people do. They're after their commission. I don't do that. I want to do what's best for you so that you can travel as well as I do. So let's get right into it. The most important reason why you'd want to consider getting this credit card is the sign-up bonus. The sign-up bonus is a massive 100,000 miles after spending $10,000 in 3 months. $10,000 does sound like a lot of money, and it is compared to some of the other credit cards that we've seen, but it actually is a reduction in how much they used to require. It used to be a $25,000 requirement for the same bonus. Now it's $10,000. I think you would find that if you were able to move around some of your expenses, things like paying insurance or property taxes, things like that, large expenses, you should be able to fit them all within a 3-month period to hit this bonus. I do think it is worth it for you to do that because 100,000 miles is pretty rare, especially with United Airlines. So that is the first and most important reason. Those 100,000 miles can take you pretty far. Even if you value those miles at just 1 cent per point, that's a bonus of $1,000 or equivalent of $1,000. And I can guarantee you'll get much more value out of that, especially if you're flying business and first class flights. So the bonus can be worth $1,000 to $2,000 depending on how you use your miles. So in any way, shape, and form, it is definitely a good deal. I'll go over some of the important parts of the credit card that are worth everybody knowing. The first one is going to be the annual fee. It's a $99 annual fee, so it's not that bad. And it does come with a lot of different perks and benefits, so I'm going to go over all of those. The first one is going to be the spending bonuses that you get. It's not a great card for spending actually, and I would recommend you actually just kind of get this card and then put it in your sock drawer because it's not actually worth spending on. You get 2x on United purchases, on commuting and transit, gas, and a couple of other categories, restaurants. They're not really things that are really good for you to put money on this card. There's a lot of other cards out there that offer better bonuses, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, Amex Platinum, and a number of other credit cards that do better. So I don't recommend you actually putting any money on this credit card. For those of you that actually do fly United Airlines on a regular basis, this could be an actually really great credit card to have. One of the primary benefits is the free checked baggage allowance. So if you're somebody that checks bags, you and a companion will each get a free checked bag on each flight that you take as long as it's paid for with this United business credit card. So United charges $30 for a checked bag. So for you and a companion, if you and a companion both use this benefit, that could be $60 each direction of your flight. That's up to $120 on a round trip, and there is no limit to how often you can use this. So that is something that could be a huge cost savings. And again, for a $99 annual fee, this is something that you could really get a lot of value out of. One other benefit that the card provides is 2 United Club passes per card member a year. So a United Club pass is basically United's lounge. They charge normally $50 per pass, so you get 2 of them. $50 per pass obviously is a value of $100, but generally United lounges are not the greatest. Some of the Polaris lounges are nice, but again, if you have other credit cards, especially the premium ones like a Chase Sapphire Reserve that comes with Priority Pass Select, then those lounges can definitely do the job, especially if you're traveling internationally. Domestic lounges for United are generally not pretty good, again, except for the Polaris lounges. So I don't necessarily put a lot of value into this particular benefit, but it is available to you. One of the other benefits for United Flyers is Group 2 boarding. So if you're the kind of person that flies a lot of United flights but always books one of the cheaper flights, instead of getting one of the later groupings for boarding, Group 2 boarding could be available to you as long as you book it with this credit card. This is, again, a pretty useful benefit, especially if you have a lot of, or if you don't check your bags, if you do a lot of carry-on baggage, then getting obviously an advanced group boarding can help you with your bags. One of the other benefits for United Flyers is going to be 25% off all in-flight purchases on your United Airlines flights. So that includes everything from food and beverages and Wi-Fi and anything else that they might sell on board. So a 25% statement credit will post usually within a few days of you making that purchase. So again, if you are somebody that spends a lot of money on United flights, then this could be valuable to you. I don't know a lot of people that actually do this, so I don't put a lot of value into this particular benefit. The next set of benefits are definitely useful in certain situations, but not ones that I would actually put a dollar value on. So for example, the first one is going to be expanded award availability. These are things that are useful in certain situations. If you're trying to get to an international gateway, for example, and United services that route, you could find more availability based on having this credit card and getting access to additional inventory. So that is something that could be useful for you. Having this card also gives you the ability to potentially get upgraded on those award flights. So let's say you book an award ticket in economy. This does give you the potential to be upgraded to business or first class on both domestic and international flights. I wouldn't count on it. It's not something that's very useful, and it's only available to the card holder. So if you're traveling with a companion, it's not something that they could take advantage of either. So again, I think it has very limited use. The next benefit is something that's a little bit weird to me. It's a $100 credit after you spend $100 in 7 separate transactions. So 7 different transactions of $100 each. After you do that, all with United, and it doesn't matter how, whether it's tickets or in-flight purchases or upgrades, things like that. After you do that 7 times, so $700+, then you'll get a $100 credit towards United. So to me, this is a really weird benefit. I don't know who really does this. Again, maybe if you fly a lot of United flights, this is something that might come in handy, but I don't really think a lot of people would want to make use of this type of benefit. The card does also provide some trip delay and some lost and delayed baggage coverage, and it also does provide primary rental car insurance, which is definitely a good benefit. But again, these are not benefits that I would want to take advantage of on this card. There are other cards, for example, the Chase Sapphire Reserve is the perfect example of it. It's better to use that card for these types of purchases because the delay coverage is better and it starts at 6 hours versus this card's 12 hours. And same thing, the primary rental car coverage, both cards do have it, but the Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to earn 3x versus this card earning 1x, I believe, on this card. So again, not the kind of card that you would actually want to spend any money on. It's good to have for the benefits though. And that brings me to the final benefit, which is actually 5,000 bonus miles on your anniversary. So as soon as you pay the card member annual fee each year, you should be awarded those 5,000 miles, which is a good way for them to incentivize you to keep the card rather than cancel it at the end of the year. But 5,000 miles isn't huge, so if you're not getting a lot out of the card, then maybe it is worth it just to keep it for that first year to get that huge sign-up bonus of 100,000 miles. And again, I am going to go over in this video how you can actually take advantage of these cards, even if you don't think you have a business, because there are lots of ways for you to kind of get around that. I was a perfect example of that. I was able to make use of my blog before I really had anything going with it, and they're happy to extend you credit. The banks are really interested in doing that. So I'll discuss some of these strategies later in the video, so make sure you stick around for that as well. The second credit card is one that I'm really excited about because it is a really unique opportunity to get a huge value in terms of travel and points. Something that is really unique, especially right now with regards to credit cards, and something I think you should really try to take advantage of if possible. It is the Southwest Performance Business Card. This is again a Chase business card similar to the United one that we just discussed. And the reason why I'm so excited about it is because of the bonus. Now it's going to sound very similar to the United one. It might sound actually worse, but let me explain why it's actually better. So this one is also a 100,000 point bonus. You do have to spend $25,000 within the first 6 months. So why would this be better than the United one that requires only $10,000 spending? The reason is because after you spend those $25,000, you'll have the 100,000 point bonus, plus let's say you earned 1x only on those $25,000 that you spent. you would earn a total of 125,000 Southwest points by putting the spend on this credit card. That is enough to earn you the Southwest Companion Pass. The Companion Pass is one of the best deals in travel and the travel and points community. And the reason is because it's basically buy one, get one free for as long as you have that Companion Pass. Right now, we're in February of 2020. Let's say you were able to earn the Companion Pass by spending all $25,000 by the end of March, for example, right? Just throwing out a random month. If you finished it by March, you would have the Companion Pass for the rest of 2020 and all of 2021. So that would be a massive 18 plus months, actually more than that, right? 21 months of having the Companion Pass, of basically buy one, get one free passes on Southwest for that period of time is an amazing value. And it's not just cash bookings, it's also bookings with points. So all cash bookings, all point bookings, especially if you're somebody that's married or you have one particular companion that you like to travel with, this is perfect. It works for coworkers, it works for whoever, but you can only designate one person at a time, even though you can change that person later on. So this is a tremendous value, and I recommend you try to take advantage of it. So let's go over some of the other benefits of the card, and I can explain how this card actually works. This credit card does have an annual fee of $199, but it is one that I think is actually worth it because it has some really interesting and unique benefits that a lot of other cards don't offer. So let's go over what some of those are. The first one is going to be one that I think is really unique. It is a Wi-Fi credit of $8 per day. So Southwest actually charges $8 for Wi-Fi on each flight that you take. And so this is a daily credit of $8. So let's say you flew Southwest every day of the year. I know this is an extreme example, but if you did, you would get free Wi-Fi on each of those. You could just buy with the card and you'd be credited it back. So this presents some interesting opportunities, right? So if you're not flying, but you know somebody that is, if you're willing to give them your credit card number, they can get free Wi-Fi as well, because all you have to do is spend that money on your credit card and you would get credited. It would be very unlikely that they're going to tie this credit to you actually having a ticket. So basically, if you want to sell this credit to somebody, you probably could. Let's say you can charge your friend $2 or $4, whatever you want, for them to get the Wi-Fi on this flight. They're saving some money, you're making some money, it comes out for everyone. So this is actually a really unique benefit, and I know I'm coming up with some extreme examples or things that you may or may not be willing to do, but just something that you can think about doing that would make this a little bit worth it for you. With regards to spending bonuses, you would earn 3x on all Southwest points and 2x on internet advertising, including social media, and also your internet services, your cable telephone, and your other cell phone purchases. None of these are really that interesting or that great. There are plenty of other cards out there that can do better. For example, just the Chase Sapphire Reserve would be better to spend Southwest Airlines dollars on, because you get 3x Ultimate Rewards points, which transfer to Southwest. So I would rather have it in the Ultimate Rewards account, where you have the ability to transfer to other places as well if you want to. But also have the flexibility to be able to transfer to Southwest if that's what you're interested in. So none of these spending categories are really that interesting. So again, I would rather use other credit cards to actually spend money on a day-to-day basis. One of the other interesting benefits that this card provides is again going to be really useful if you actually fly Southwest on a regular basis. It's 4 upgraded boardings per year. And to clarify, that's on 4 tickets. So it could be you and 3 companions, or you 4 different times. However you want to do it, you get 4 of them per year. So what this is, as you know, if you fly Southwest, you have to check in usually about 24 hours before the flight, and you get assigned a boarding spot. Usually it's A15 to 60, and then B1 to 60, and C1 to 60, something like that. And what this does is it allows you to buy an upgrade on your credit card to one of those premium slots between A1 and A15. So you'd be one of the first 15 people onto the plane. This gives you one of those slots 4 times per year, and it would credit back the cost of that. So it's hard to put an actual dollar value on this because Southwest charges different amounts depending on the route and how long the flight is. So it changes from time to time, so it's hard to actually say how much it's worth. But let's say you're on a really long flight and you checked in really late and you got a C36 and you have a carry-on bag for you and a companion. That would be a perfect opportunity for you to make use of this. You just walk up to the boarding gate and you say, I'd like to upgrade. You put the cost of it on this credit card, and basically they would give you a spot A1 to A15. That way you can get the seat that you want. You can make sure that you get your bags in the overhead bins, and you would get credited back that money. So again, this is something that's really useful for Southwest flyers, and you get 4 of them per year. This card does also provide a $100 global entry or TSA pre-check credit. And as a reminder, you always want to select the global entry one because global entry comes with TSA pre-check. So as long as you're not a New York resident, right now, obviously there's a little bit of a discrepancy, some politics going on with whether you can sign up for global entry in New York right now or not. So that aside, global entry is definitely the thing that you want to go with and not TSA pre-check because, again, TSA pre-check is included with global entry and it's valid for 5 years. So this card provides a credit for that, which is pretty good to have with a $199 annual fee. And speaking of the annual fee, the final benefit is going to be 9,000 bonus points per year. And again, Southwest points are worth approximately 1.3 cents each. So not just is the sign-up bonus worth a lot of money, but this annual 9,000 point bonus, once you pay the annual fee, is worth approximately $115 to $120 per year. So that alone almost wipes out more than half of the annual fee. So that's something that's actually great as well. If you're looking to get a credit card right now, these 2 credit cards that I just discussed are the most lucrative ones that are available right now. So if you're looking for personal cards only, I would highly recommend you at least take a look at these 2 credit cards to see whether it is possible for you to get one of them. And again, I'm going to explain how you might be able to do that right now. But these 2 credit cards are so lucrative. If you're able to spend the money to get these bonuses, then I highly, highly recommend you do so because they're really rare to have these kinds of, not just the bonuses, which are great obviously, but the benefits that come with them actually make the cards really useful, especially if you fly on these 2 particular airlines. Having the United credit card is going to be useful for having the expanded award availability. That's something that I would definitely make use of, especially for domestic flights. And the Southwest Companion Pass is just something that's so incredible to be able to get. You know, Southwest flies to Hawaii now. I mean, just imagine being able to use a Companion Pass to Hawaii and all the intra-Hawaii flights as well. It's just such an incredible value that I really can't recommend it enough for you to get these 2 credit cards. There's a couple of really important things that we need to discuss because these are business cards. They're a little bit different than personal cards. So let's go over a couple of them right now. The first one is going to be the Chase 524 rule. If you're unfamiliar with what this is, basically Chase has a rule that I think is a little bit silly, but nobody asked my opinion anyway. It's a rule basically that says that if you've been approved for 5 different credit cards in the last 24 months, Chase will not approve you for another credit card until one of those credit cards has dropped off. So if you've only been approved for 4 in the last 24 months, you have 1 more slot available and you can apply for and get approved for one of these cards with Chase. Now, the reason why this is so important is because business cards and personal cards are actually treated a little bit differently. So that number 5 in those last 24 months is only valid for personal cards. So let me explain how this actually works. If you've been approved for 5 personal cards in the last 24 months, then you would not be eligible. But if you're approved for 4 personal cards and 1 business card, then you would be eligible because business cards, while they do check your personal credit history, they do not go on your personal credit report. And this is the most important thing that some people actually miss with regards to the 524 rule, is that business cards, while they do check your personal credit history, it will not go on your personal credit report. And that is true for both of these cards as well. So if you're below the 524 threshold and able to get one of these cards, then you can sign up for this card and not have to worry about your 524 status changing. So if you're currently at 324, 3 cards approved, 3 personal cards approved in the last 24 months, you can apply for the Chase United business card like I just discussed, and you would still be at 324 because they'll check your personal credit, but it won't go on your personal credit report. This is a really important distinction to make, one that I think I should probably actually do a separate video on entirely just for the Chase 524 rule, but something to keep in mind if you are thinking about one or both of these credit cards. The next item to discuss is how you can actually get this card if you don't think you have a business. So obviously if you have a business, it's going to be really easy. When I was first starting out, I had my blog, but it wasn't really a business at that time. I wasn't making any money. I wasn't really spending any money. I was just using all free platforms, right? So I didn't really have any business. So how did I actually sign up for business credit cards at that time? Well, for me, it was easy. I was just selling things online, or at least I could say that I was, right? If you sell something on Craigslist or on eBay, if you buy and you resell, that is something that would be considered a business. You don't need to have a business name. You don't need to have any paperwork with the government. You don't need to have a business license or anything like that. The important thing to do is that when you're applying, and let's say you do want to apply like this, you want to, let's say John Smith just buys things off Craigslist and sells them again, or buys things off eBay and sells them again. And they want to keep, John Smith wants to keep those expenses separate, and that's why he wants a business card. The important thing to note is that when you are applying for these business credit cards, you want to put your name as the business name. You don't want to put a company name, you don't want to make one up, and you want to make sure you select sole proprietorship, because these two things will make it very easy for you to get approved. When I say very easy, I don't want to make it seem like you're just going to get automatically approved like that. You may still need to talk to one of the bankers at Chase or whatever bank it is that you're applying for a credit with. They may want to ask you some questions about your business, how much you spend, and if you have any examples of things that you've done recently. These are usually things that are pretty easy to come up with, in my opinion. Usually, everybody is buying or selling something. You can come up with a really easy invoice template if you wanted to, quote unquote, sell something to a friend or family member. So again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that because I don't want to get kind of blacklisted by certain banks. But hopefully you catch my drift that anybody can have a business if they buy and sell things. And it doesn't have to be done in a business way as a lot of people might think. You don't need a business name. You don't need any business paperwork, right? You just need your name. You just need to know that you are a sole proprietorship. One other thing that I think might be a good idea to bring up right now is that you could actually have multiple businesses kind of doing the same exact thing. So let's say that you sell computer equipment and you also sell sports equipment. So these could actually be considered two separate businesses if you wanted to track those expenses separately. That would allow you to actually get approved for the Chase business card, the United business card, for the computer business and for the sports business separately, even though they're both under your name. So this is a way that some people, I'm not going to name any names, actually use to get multiple of the same exact type of credit card and are able to earn the bonus multiple times. So this is just one strategy to keep in mind if this is something that you could actually do. And again, keep in mind with these two particular credit cards that I just mentioned, they have high spending bonuses. May not be the most practical for these two particular credit cards, but it is something to keep in mind for any future offers in case they don't work for you right now. So I'm really curious to know, is this something that you guys are actually going to take advantage of? I already applied for the Chase United Business Credit Card. I'm just waiting for that approval to hopefully come through. I'm still deciding whether or not I want to get the Chase Southwest card as well, the performance card, because it is such a good offer. Generally, I do a lot of international travel, and Southwest is obviously good only for domestic travel. So I'm still deciding whether or not that's a card that I want to get. The Companion Pass is a really compelling offer, and I'm thinking maybe I should actually get that card and do some domestic travel because I could essentially travel for free for quite some time given the Companion Pass and the points that would come with the card. So I'm really curious to know if everybody out there is kind of in the same boat as me or what else everybody is thinking. Let me know in the comments section. And again, remember to subscribe. I'm going to keep putting out videos regarding credit cards and how to travel and how to use your points and miles best, and a lot of the review videos as well. So until next time, happy travels.